Let's cut through the confusion immediately. Mixed signals are not random, they are not accidental, and they are definitely not just how dating is. Mixed signals are psychological behavior. When someone says one thing and does another, when they show interest then pull away, when they flirt but stay distant, that is not mystery. That is strategy, emotion, uncertainty, or power dynamics playing out in real time. Most men suffer here because they treat mixed signals like puzzles to solve instead of patterns to understand. That mistake costs you attraction, confidence, and leverage. If you've ever felt stuck trying to decode someone's behavior, stop for a second and comment, clarity, because that's exactly what we're building right now. Mixed signals exist because human behavior is rarely linear. People are walking contradictions. A woman can like you and still ignore you. She can be attracted and still hesitate. She can pull you closer and push you away in the same week. Why? Because attraction is emotional, not logical. And emotions are unstable. One day she feels desire, another day she feels doubt, another day she feels fear of vulnerability. You interpret this as inconsistency. Psychology interprets this as internal conflict. Big difference. Let's talk about the first major cause of mixed signals, emotional ambivalence. This is when someone genuinely likes you but isn't fully convinced, fully comfortable, or fully invested. She enjoys your presence, but she's unsure about your long-term potential. She's unsure about her feelings. She's unsure about the risk. So what happens? Her behavior oscillates. Warm, cold. Warm, cold. Not because she's playing games, but because her emotions are unstable. Most men completely collapse here. They see distance and panic. They double text. They over-explain. They chase reassurance. And ironically, that anxiety pushes her further away. Because uncertainty thrives on emotional tension. Desperation kills tension. If you've ever overreacted to someone pulling away, be honest with yourself and comment, stayed cool, or lost frame. No ego, just awareness. Second major cause, power and validation dynamics. Now we enter dangerous territory. Some mixed signals are absolutely strategic. Attention is power. Interest is leverage. When someone senses you're emotionally invested, your reactions become valuable. Your chasing becomes validation. Your confusion becomes control. Understand this clearly. People are drawn to what feels scarce and resistant. When you are too predictable, too available, too eager, attraction often weakens. So what do some people do? They create distance. Not because they lost interest, but because they want to regulate the dynamic. They want to feel pursued, desired, chosen. Mixed signals become a way of managing attention flow. Hot enough to keep you engaged, cold enough to keep you chasing. This is where many men misdiagnose the situation. They think, she's complicated. No, often she's reacting to your energy. If your mood depends on her replies, she feels the imbalance. And imbalance kills attraction. Third cause, fear of vulnerability. This one destroys a lot of potentially good connections. Some people send mixed signals because closeness triggers fear. Yes, fear. Real intimacy requires emotional exposure. That exposure feels dangerous for someone who has been hurt, betrayed, or disappointed. So she leans in, then subconsciously pulls back. She wants connection, but her defense mechanisms activate. You see inconsistency. Psychology sees self-protection. This is why chasing rarely works. Pressure amplifies fear. Calm confidence neutralizes it. Now let's address the brutal truth most men avoid. Mixed signals often hurt because you're overinvested too early. Not because she's confusing, but because you're emotionally committing to potential instead of reality. You're reacting to what you hope she feels, not what she consistently demonstrates. Interest is not words. Interest is patterns. Consistency beats intensity. Always. Let me repeat that because this is critical. Consistency beats intensity. A woman being extremely warm once means nothing. A woman being moderately warm consistently means everything. If this hits you, comment, patterns greater than moments. Burn that into your mindset. Now let's talk about the mistakes men make when facing mixed signals. First mistake, overanalysis. You turn into a behavioral detective. What did that text mean? Why did she use that emoji? Why was she online but didn't reply? Stop. Overanalysis is just anxiety wearing an intellectual disguise. Attraction is not built by decoding microscopic details. It's built by observing macro patterns. Second mistake, emotional reactivity. Hot and cold behavior triggers insecurity. You respond with frustration, passive aggression, withdrawal games, neediness, all of which scream instability. Stability is attractive, reactivity is not. Third mistake, chasing clarity too soon. Why are you acting like this? Do you even like me? Where do we stand? These conversations almost always backfire when tension is still forming. Why? Because attraction thrives in emotional space, not forced definitions. So what's the correct response to mixed signals? Not withdrawal, not pursuit, but emotional steadiness. You don't reward hot behavior excessively. You don't punish cold behavior dramatically. You remain centered. Interested, but not dependent. Engaged, but not destabilized. You allow her behavior to reveal her level of investment over time, because time exposes truth better than confrontation. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Mixed signals are information, not rejection, not catastrophe. Information. They tell you how emotionally stable she is, how invested she is, how confident you are, how balanced the dynamic is. When you stop personalizing every fluctuation, you regain psychological control. You stop reacting, you start observing. And paradoxically, that calm detachment often increases attraction, because confidence is emotional independence in action. Let's ground this in reality. If someone is consistently inconsistent for weeks or months, that is no longer mixed signals, that is low investment. There's a difference. Temporary fluctuation is human. Chronic ambiguity is a pattern, and patterns define outcomes. Never stay trapped in prolonged uncertainty, hoping clarity magically appears. That's not patience, that's self-deception. If you've ever stayed too long in a confusing situation, comment, "No more limbo," because that's where growth starts. Final truth. Mixed signals only control you if you let them destabilize you. Your power is not in forcing certainty. Your power is in remaining psychologically grounded, regardless of uncertainty. When your confidence is not tied to someone else's behavior, you become more attractive, more composed, more difficult to manipulate, more internally stable. And stability is rare. Rare is powerful. If this video gave you perspective, if it replaced confusion with understanding, then you already know what to do. Subscribe, because we're not here for dating fantasies. We're here for psychological awareness, emotional control, and real behavioral dynamics. And before you go, drop this in the comments. Unshaken. Because that's the frame you're building. Calm, centered, unmoved by emotional turbulence. That's where real leverage begins.